you have several debts. You might have issues paying the debts for whatever reason. Maybe you just have issues paying them because you have a job that you fly all the time and you're never at home and you miss your bills, you miss you miss the due dates and all those things, and you need somebody to help you manage your debt. You also have people that just can't handle the debt. They have money coming in, but they never can absolutely pay on time and what have you, and they've gotten behind on a bunch of bills, and they need somebody to help them do that. There are some government entities that help with debt management that are basically free. Yes, you do probably pay a little fee in there at all, but they're basically free. And then you have those other companies that, they take a percentage. If you happen to send them, or your arrangement is that you send them $1,000 a month and they dole that out among your bills or what have you, they may get a percentage of that. So debt management, I don't particularly care for debt management companies, or even the one through the government. Just personally, I don't particularly care for them. Back in the day when I worked for a finance company, one of those personal loan places I was telling you about, when I worked for one of them, that was actually one of the options that we had to give to people that I saw that might have or might be struggling with their bills. I didn't have anybody to refer them to help them with their credit, like myself, as of now. But I had the opportunity to say, okay, you should go to this place, you go to that place, go check them out. Maybe they'll help you with your debt management, because we couldn't grant them a loan. So my experiences with them are vast. I've had a bunch of people, probably 100 or so people, go through that program, and had people come into my office that had been through that program and whatnot. And more often than not, it wasn't that helpful. Not only did people, miss the payments to the debt management company that were making the deals with the people that you owe, but oftentimes they just weren't being recorded or reported correctly on your credit report. So debt management works like this. You go in, you say, I have these 5 credit cards. Let's stick with these 5 credit cards and this one loan. And I can't make these payments. I simply can't make the payments on all of them. The debt management company will contact all of them and see if they can negotiate on your behalf a lower payment. So no, they're not switching the terms necessarily of all of these different credit cards and, the personal loan that you have. They're not switching the terms on them, but they're going to ask, can they pay a little bit less? So they may agree to pay a little bit, to take a little bit less on a monthly basis. And so they'll do that. It'll stop them from collecting on you, like calling you all the time and saying, hey, you're behind, and sending you a bunch of letters and all that stuff. It'll stop or slow that down. However, oftentimes some of these companies don't report correctly to the credit bureau. So even if it's just a credit card and you're supposed to pay $50 a month, but they've agreed to take $30 a month, and you pay your $30 a month, you pay your money to the debt management company, they send it off to the credit card company, and they get their $30 a month that you guys agreed upon. But they're still showing you behind. They're still showing that, you're behind. They're tacking on late payments and things of that nature. Then you got to call them to get them to remove the late payments. It's a big headache. It's a huge headache. So I don't particularly care for debt management companies. If somebody works for one and they're listening to, or you work for one and you're listening to the show, please contact me. Contact me at 800-creditscoreman@gmail.com. I'm sure that it has improved since way, way back then when I worked at a finance company, or at least I hope so. I hope that it has improved since way back then. So that's debt management. So we talked about the options that you might have. You're going to pay off that debt. Cool. We talked about, you're going to do a debt consolidation loan. Will it help you or will it hurt you? And then also now we said a little bit about debt management. And again, my personal opinion, and it's just my opinion, that I don't particularly care for the debt management companies. It's a lot more work for you, the client or the customer, than it should be, in my opinion, because you're going to them for the help. But there are some good ones out there for sure. There are some good ones. This one, I'm not going to call any names. This one, which is basically a government entity, they actually did the best of the ones that I dealt with back in the day. But again, if you are part of one of these companies, you think differently, you've had a better experience with somebody like this, but you're listening to the show, contact me and please give me that info. I truly, truly appreciate it. 800-creditscoreman@gmail.com. And that's so I can share this information with the masses. All right. So thank you so very much. All right. So then, look, we are past the halfway point of the show. let's jump into the question of the day right quick. So the question of the day is brought to you by Cute as a Cupcake, Cupcakery and Bake Shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Cute as a Cupcake is located at 2008 West 81st in Maryville, Indiana. Get by Cute as a Cupcake and let them know that the 800 credit score man sent you. All right, before I go to the question, let me give a shout out right quick. Let me give a shout out to the 7 Fantasies. Yes, the ladies of Zeta Phi Beta have from Indiana University celebrate a 24-year anniversary. So happy Zetaversary to you guys, the 7 Fantasies, you guys. All right, so let's jump into the question of the day. So the question of the day comes from Angela. She's out of Indiana, and she said, what should I do if a new collection agency contacts me about an old debt? All right, so let's jump into this. You'll actually find this a lot. You'll find this happening a lot. So you have an issue with a particular creditor. They send it to collections, and so that collection agency tries to collect on you or whatever for years or 2 months or whatever, and then they sell it. Let's say they sell your debt too. They decide we don't want to collect on this one, or they can get a better deal, and so they sell your account to someone else. So that happens all too often. Let me tell you about this particular scenario. So this particular scenario, the original creditor sold it, or sent it to a collection agency. Collection agency contacted them, and payment arrangements were made. But this happened, and the last payment that was made was 7 years ago. Actually, 7 years ago in the month of November. As of November. So they have, gone past the 7 years. You know that bad debt stays on your credit report for 7 years, then it drops off. Doesn't necessarily mean that you don't still owe the debt, but it's off of your credit report, and it should not be returning to your credit report after 7 years. So each state is different. Each state is different. I talked about it before. I sent it out on Facebook and Instagram, letting you guys so you can see the website that'll give you the information about your particular state. So make sure you go and look up your particular state. I would suggest that you just put in statute of limitations for whatever state that you are in your Google search, and then you'll find out what the statute of limitations is for you. So in this particular instance, what should you do if a new collection agency comes aboard? Well, your 7 years actually starts from the date of first delinquency. So what that means, date of first delinquency, means the first time you became late. That's when your 7 years start. If you didn't do anything else after that and never paid them, that date, whatever date that is, then that's the date that is calculated from, or should be. So in this particular situation with Angela out of Indiana, this particular situation is that now that the 7 years is up as of November, then you need to monitor your credit report. You need to make sure that it comes off. Now, just because it's supposed to end it in November, who knows if it was November the 11th or November the 17th or November the 22nd or whatever it is. When it ends in November, then in December, make sure you monitor your credit report. If it doesn't come off in December, in January, look at your credit report again, or in late December, and send a dispute to the credit bureau. Send it to the credit bureau. Don't mess with this collection agency, not the new collection agency, not the old collection agency, not the original debtor. Don't mess with any of them. Send your dispute to the credit bureau. If it's on your credit report, send a dispute to them saying that you no longer owe this debt. It's an old debt. Send it to them. Do it online. Actually, I would prefer online in this particular situation and at this particular time, because I found that lately, of the 3 credit bureaus, 2 of them have been having issues or saying they're not getting the mail that has been sent to them, or they're been delaying the time frame. So, I send something out on the 10th of the month, and it should be there by the 12th of the month, but they're saying they didn't get it to the 17th of the month. So that's delaying the time frame that they have to go ahead and process this particular transaction. So they're delaying those times. I don't necessarily believe it. I mean, they get 35 days, and 35 days is it if you send something to them in the mail. So at this point in time, I would do it online. the date and time that you sent it to them, and they get 30 days. So the time frame is shorter. So in December, late December, if it hasn't come off your credit report, if you haven't been notified that it came off your credit report, especially if you go and sign up, say, with Credit Karma, they'll let you know, hey, something fell off your credit report whenever it falls off. So if you don't get that kind of information, then file your dispute with each of the credit bureaus saying, it's past its time, it's past the limitation, you no longer owe this debt. File that online with them, and then it should be coming off your credit report. But I would think that it would fall off anyway because they are monitoring these things. If you look at TransUnion as one of the 3 credit bureaus, if you look at TransUnion, they'll often tell you the date that items will come off your credit report, whether it's your inquiries or if it's a collection or what have you. They also tell you the date that it will come off your credit report. So they monitor those things pretty well. So I would definitely take a look, take a pause, and see if that's going to happen. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that your timing is correct. You want to see how old it is. In this scenario, 7 years ago in November. So 7 years from then, you should be good. Go ahead and watch for it to fall off naturally. And again, if it doesn't, contact your credit bureaus. And it doesn't matter. Let's discuss or talk about this particular this new collection agency that's coming along. It doesn't matter if they switch collection agencies 12 times. That's not your issue. It's not your problem at all. The date of first delinquency is the marker that they should go by and you should go by. So just because they just got it, last month, or they just got it 6 months ago from somewhere else, it's not your problem. It does not start over. Your 7 years does not start over with them unless you go ahead and you say something to them that indicates I'm going to go ahead and pay this debt or what have you. Then your 7 years start over. But if that's not the case, then it's too bad for them and they can't get that money from you. It just can't get that money out of you. So make sure that you do that. Here's what not to do. Do not do this. Do not engage with them. You might as well go ahead and ignore them. If they send you a letter, definitely ignore it. If they call you, do not entertain making a payment. Don't hint that you'll make a payment. Don't even use simple phrases like, I'll see what I can do, or I'll call you back with a date. Don't use anything like that that may indicate that you might make a payment with them. If you do, that's when your 7 years starts all over. So that's the mistake that a lot of people make. So try not to engage with them. It's only a few months. In this particular scenario, your 7 years is actually up. But let's say even it's delayed by a month or what have you. It's only 30, 40 days or whatever it is. Do whatever they do. Now, if they continue to call you, like if they called you and you told them, quit calling me, send me something in the mail or whatever, quit calling me, and they happen to keep calling you, make sure that you make note of every time they call you. Everybody's got call ID. I don't care if it's your cell phone or it's your home phone. You got call ID, take a picture, make a note of it. Every time that they call you after you've told them do not call you because it's against the law. So you may be able to get some money yourself for them harassing you, if you will. All right, so make sure that you do those things and make sure that you don't do those other things. So don't entertain them at all if they're trying to call on you. If you do happen to find yourself in a conversation with them, some of y'all are so nice and so sweet that when somebody calls you, you just can't hang up on them. You can't be rude to them. It doesn't matter who they are. You treat everybody like they're the Queen of England. I understand that. I even appreciate it. However, if you happen to find yourself in a conversation with one of these collectors, then you should be asking the questions and don't answer their questions. So you don't want to verify your birth date. You don't want to verify your social security number. You don't want to verify your address or where you work. Any of those things. You don't want to verify anything of that nature to them. Also, you want to be the ones asking the questions. So you're going to ask them, who was the original debtor? Who are you? And you're asking them for their name. Who are you? Now, let's do this too. Now, if somebody doesn't sound like a Samantha, but they swear their name is Samantha, I'm going to just suggest that you hang up. You just hang up. You know from the accent or